about it.
I've been going through some report recently talking about the lead poisoning that occurred in Nigeria for over the past 14 years now.
Northern Nigeria, there is literally gold in the ground.
Hundreds of children are not as lucky.
Certainly there are quite some severe children that you've got to think that there'll be some degree of disability.
Children have died from acute lead exposure in Zamfara state thus far.
They say what they eat blocks their heart.
To understand the origin of this lead poisoning situation, it's important to discuss the global crisis that occurred in the United States between 2008 to 2010.
1.7% here, a loss of 37 points or so. Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate. We're red everywhere, essentially, down by 4-5%.
We're down over 16%. Dow at the same time has fallen about 18%.
The stock market is now down 21%.
So this occurred where financial institutions invested heavily in the housing market, whereby they gave out loans to a lot of citizens without properly vetting them to see if they could actually pay back. Now, when it came for these citizens to pay the money they owed the financial institution, they were not able to pay.
Traders here working the phone say a lot of their customers are freaked out, waiting to see how low the Dow will go.
The heightened financial turmoil that we have experienced of late may well lengthen the period of weak economic performance and further increase the risk to growth.
This caused the bubble around the housing market in the United States to crash, basically. Now, this went ahead and it affected a lot of countries. In a quest to protect the assets of the investors, a lot of people started going and turning into gold.
Price of gold
closing above $4,000.
Reaching heights it has never seen.
When the going gets rough, people turn to gold.
In Zamfara state, it is reported that illegal gold mining has been in existence since 2006, and even certain reports shows that even before 2006 some illegal mining operations have been going on within the states. For the people of Zamfara states, they see this illegal activity as a source of survival to combat the hardship that they face within their states. It felt like survival, and this survival mechanism cost a lot of lives. You see, when extracting these natural resources from the earth, in a very uncommon situation in Nigeria and in Zamfara state to be specific, as well as other states, you see, this gold is embedded with lead ore, and when this gold is being extracted, the lead is given off as a byproduct. This lead spreads to the environment through the water body, the soil, and even the clothes that these people are wearing. Family members will go out in the day to perform this illegal mining act and come back in the evening. Reports from the medical institution within Zamfara state recorded a very significant amount of children that were falling sick. And in a quest to understand what was causing this pandemic, I should say, it was assumed that this was as a result of malaria. Now, early in 2010, the MSF came to Zamfara state to really understand what was causing this issue and sudden deaths with high numbers among children in the village. When they saw or carried out their investigation, they found that this was as a result of lead poisoning, which was further traced down to the illegal mining operations that occurs within the state. The MSF in March 2010 began an intervention project, and this was to save lives, to cover lands that were contaminated with this.
It was staggering, between 100 and 400 micrograms of lead per deciliter of blood. Above 100, really, it is said that most victims die.
Lead poisoning that was recorded in this place alone was 10 times the standard of what was considered safe, which is actually the highest and the greatest crisis of lead poisoning in the entire world. Animals began to die, and ducks and chickens were fleeing the areas close to the mining operation.
Both up and down. I have less than 1,000 beds, and I started with over 10,000 beds. They've ruined me. I have no money.
And this was sort of like an early warning, which the people of Zamfara states didn't take into account. As this intervention sort of took place, within Zamfara state. A neighboring state, Niger state, recorded deaths among children in the community. And Niger state sort of like turned to Zamfara state, the MSF in the Zamfara state, and we're like, oh, since you are close by and you are investigating what is causing the death amongst our neighbors, why don't you come over and check what's going on in our state? Now, the MSF went into Niger state and sort of performed an investigation to the deaths of these children, and they figured out that there were a lot of households that were affected by lead poisoning, and the cause of this lead poisoning was the same as what happened in Zamfara state. As at the time, the MSF had already begun their operation in Zamfara state for about 5 years, which was in 2015 that Niger state recorded their first cases of death and called for the MSF in Zamfara state to help in their own situation. One would think that with this intervention both by the MSF and the Nigerian government, that these lead poisoning cases are going to die and everyone can go back to their usual activities. But with the crisis still on ground and things not getting better within the economy, people sort of like neglected this whole incident, and in the year 2024 further cases were reported in still Zamfara state, and this time in Sokoto state.
This crisis is not new. In 2010, a Nigerian health official reported that lead poisoning caused by illegal gold mining had killed 163 Nigerians, most of them children. Since then, the mining has continued, and so have the deaths.
So the citizens never gave up this gold exploration as a form of survival because of the hardship they faced within the country. Fast forward to 2025, an investigation run by the examination reported a case of lead poisoning, this time in Ogun state, in the community of Ogijo. You see, the lead poisoning that occurred in Ogijo community in Ogun state was as a result of lead battery recycling. This recycling process is carried out by factories whereby they recycle batteries and resell to big automobile companies.
So we put it separately. The lead separate and the plastic is separate. That's how we operate. So we put it until it's up to 10 tons, 15 tons, or 20 tons before we supply it to more residents.
Why some companies have denied knowing about this whole process that was unsafe to the life of the citizens. Some companies short altars with Nigeria for importing batteries to their country.
Workers load the lead pulled from the batteries into a furnace like this one to melt the lead down. This is what releases the dangerous lead particles into the air.
Lead poisoning in Ogijo is said to have claimed over 700 lives, lives of workers, of people living around the community.
Whenever they visit us, the whole remaining workers, they send them to go and hide. When the visitors want to visit the company, they ask us, all of us, not to use hand. Why you are using hand? Because of the visitors. When the visitors left, that the same day when the visitors left, because the engine cannot meet up the target of the company. When the visitors left and moved from the company, then they off the engine and ask us to go back and use the normal hand. This is what we do when visitors come.
After the investigation by the examination on lead poisoning that was being caused by these recycling companies, the federal government took action and shut down 9 factories. And after further investigation, another 4 factories were shut down. When lead enters into the body, it can stay for over a decade. It results in mental disorder, kidney failure, actions of aggression, and even infertility.
And yeah, MSF has not the capacities to take care of all villages. There are 30 villages identified in which MSF is not working, which are suffering from lead poisoning.
Modern facilities have filters and automated equipment to limit the release of lead. The Nigerian government has known about this pollution for years.
You see, this lead poisoning situation is really a serious and painful occurrence because it's among our brothers and sisters of this great nation. And in a quest for survival and fighting against the whole bad economy and catering for even their families, they have resulted in killing of themselves and other people. We have cases whereby lead poisoning has taken over 1,000 lives in this country, and it's just something I can't imagine. Thank you for watching, and also I'll be linking the sources of my information down in the comment section. If you stay within this community and there's sort of like an information I've missed or something you would like to share concerning the lead poisoning across Nigeria or even in a different state than you've had in this video, please reach out. The comments is always open, and I'll see you guys in the next one.